Greetings, exalted ones.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Coffee, where in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the latest on the Ezra and Thrawn series for Disney+. That's today here on Star Wars Coffee. The Ezra and Thrawn series is something that I've been talking about for a couple of months now. I've done several videos on it, and what we're going to do today is take a look at the latest developments within this. But for those of you who don't know who Ezra and Thrawn are, if you're just general audience fans and you're more or less just into the live action stuff, Ezra Bridger was growing up on his own during the Age of the Empire. Ezra relied on his street smarts and subconscious force abilities to survive. He became a con artist and a small-time thief, doing what he needed to get by on his home planet, Lothal. But this reality also hardened Ezra, who by the time he was 14 had little trust for anyone. This would change with his introduction to the Ghost Crew, a small band of rebels fighting back against the Empire. Ezra came to believe in their cause and saw that he could help change the galaxy for the better. And with the help of Kanan Jarrus, he began to learn the ways of the Jedi. And for those of you who are unaware of who Thrawn is actually a character from Legends that has now been reintroduced into canon through Rebels. And he is as follows. When Governor Price of Lothal wanted a strong commander to dismantle the rebellion, the Empire answered with Grand Admiral Thrawn. Thrawn was a male with striking blue skin, red eyes, and an angular face, known for his brilliant strategic mind and ruthlessness. He was determined to pull the rebels apart piece by piece. So these are the two characters, and we've reported on this before that Disney is reportedly looking at doing a live-action Ezra and Thrawn series, picking up where Rebels left off. And so, before we get into the new content, here is what the last bit of information that I gave you guys was. I went back into my old video and I have like a 45-second clip of what Disney is currently doing, and then we'll go within the update. So check this out. By Anna Dumarog saying, Star Wars, Disney reportedly casting live-action Ezra for post-Rebels show. Disney and Lucasfilm are reportedly casting for a live-action version of Ezra Bridger from Star Wars Rebels for an unnamed Disney Plus series. Now, my contention on this has always been that it's likely that Ezra would appear in a Star Wars Rebels sequel series. We've covered that at this point extensively on the channel. And what we have seen is the likelihood that this is an animated series. And the reason I say that, and I'm already very skeptical of this, and you can tell from my tone if you're a typical viewer, is that I'm very skeptical of this claim, considering Star Wars, especially Disney Star Wars, has always had an animated series going at this point, of which they don't have now that the Clone Wars Season 7 has ended. So in order for something to fill that void, the likelihood would be a Rebels sequel series, okay? So in 2008 we had the Clone Wars, then we had Rebels, then we had the Resistance, then we got Season 7 of the Clone Wars, and now we have nothing. So while we have the Mandalorian Gallery, that's the only Star Wars TV coming out right now up until fall. So I would expect an announcement of a Star Wars Rebels sequel series to come at Star Wars Celebration, which still has not been canceled. So we're taking a look at this article by Screen Rant. So casting for a live-action Ezra Bridger for Star Wars Rebels has reportedly begun. Over the last several weeks, Star Wars appears to be transitioning some of its animated characters to live action, given reports of Rosario Dawson being cast as live-action Ahsoka Tano and Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan. Both characters are expected to appear in The Mandalorian Season 2, set to debut this October on Disney+. If this new information comes to fruition, Ezra will eventually join them on the streaming service, all about potentially in a different series. Rebels created by Dave Filoni featured an all-new cast of characters, focusing primarily on a small band of freedom fighters known as the Ghost Crew. So this essentially just gives us background on who Ezra is, and says that Ezra and Thrawn survived as confirmed by Dave Filoni at the end of Rebels, which we already knew that. So, here's where it gets to the claim about Ezra live-action casting. Now fans may finally learn what happened to Ezra after his disappearance at the end of Rebels, as a new report from the Illuminati claims Lucasfilm is looking to cast a live-action version of the character. According to their report, this will be for an upcoming Disney Plus show and not The Mandalorian. Based on the casting description, the studio is looking for a male actor between ages 30 and 40. Lucasfilm is also specifically looking for actors of Asian descent, but is open to seeing auditions from Indian, Latino, or Middle Eastern performers. So that is what we had previously, and now we're going to take a look at this report from LRM Online by Joseph Medina, titled Star Wars Cassian Andor Disney Plus series is beginning preliminary work. Ezra and Thrawn series still in play. Star Wars may have primarily been a film-centric franchise for decades, but with the success of The Mandalorian, it was inevitable that the streaming television would be the new frontier. If you've been following the scuttlebutt over the past year, you know that there are at least a handful of shows in the works over at Lucasfilm. In fact, earlier today we reported on some corroborating news regarding an Ahsoka Tano show and a Boba Fett one. They also discussed a mystery series. In recent months, we've labeled additional shows such as Ezra, Admiral Thrawn shows as potentials, but they were nowhere to be found except in the report from the Kessel Run Transmissions. We took this opportunity to check in with one of our sources as well, and according to them, the live-action Ezra and Thrawn series is still in play at Lucasfilm. However, it probably wouldn't premiere until well after the Ahsoka Tano show. In other words, there's a bit of time that needs to pass before we get any more information on that. So, pretty much what this is talking about is LRM decided to take a look at this report from the KRT guys, the Kessel Run Transmission guys, who were talking about the Ezra and Thrawn shows. So they hadn't heard anything about it from one of their sources directly, so they reached out to one of them, and they had indeed heard that the Ezra and Thrawn series is still in play at Lucasfilm. So now we have two separate sources and two separate outlets corroborating the same information that an Ezra and Thrawn series is still in play. And based on that clip that I laid out for you guys earlier, Disney is just now putting out the casting report, which means that we can probably expect this show within, honestly, realistically, probably be 5 years. So, because I have a friend who was in the acting world, and he tried out for one of the Disney Plus series back when it was first announced that Disney was going to be doing a streaming service, and this is really before anybody was talking about it seriously. And they had put out the casting reports for several of those shows, and he auditioned for one of them. And so technically, this was 4 or 5 years ago before Disney actually started. So we shouldn't expect anything on this front for the next, concrete, like to air or debut on Disney Plus for at least 4 or 5 years. Perhaps we would get an official announcement within 3 years, but I wouldn't expect anything concrete for quite a while. But let me know what you guys think about this Ezra Thrawn show in the comment section down below. What do you think? Would you like to see it in live action? Personally, I think Thrawn would look awesome in live action, and I think that would just be a really, really great villain, up on par with Palpatine and Vader. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, God bless you, and the Force be with you always. If you enjoyed this episode, and frankly, even if you didn't, don't forget to subscribe.
Do it!
And if you want to help spread the word, please give this video a thumbs up and tell your friends to subscribe. Please check out the official Star Wars Coffee merchandise, and don't forget to check out all of the content playlists on this channel, including The Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and much more.